Hello, I'm happy to have a special guest today. Me and Ruben, head of IT, we have a guest, Rajat Mathur, who is the vice president of Aspiring Minds, a company which is inside SHO from the last year. And it's a great acquisition of artificial intelligence and technology behind. Rajat, welcome. And could you describe just a bit what experience do you have in the area to give an insight to our audience?
Yeah, thank you. First of all, thank you, Irene, very much for inviting me for this session. It's a great pleasure and a privilege, in fact, that we are able to talk to all of you, and get to share our product knowledge with all of you. So my background, I have worked with Aspiring Minds for about 8 years now, and before that, I'm actually an engineer by education. So I have a lot of interest in technology and engineering, just as a hobby as well. So great to be here, and I'm really looking forward to our discussion. Thank you.
Great. And today it's a topic technology talent, because I believe that it's a hot topic, and sometimes nobody knows who is this technology talent and what to do with them. And my question is, who is technology talent? Whom should we consider as technology talent, to your mind?
Yeah, yeah. So technology talent, are people who have been trained in technology, in software, in developers, in development. So there's a huge opportunity or huge industry for software development. What I will also do is let me just share my screen so that you are able to understand which are the key technology occupations. So if you can see my screen here, there are millions and millions of technology professionals. Very
Wow.
interest, very interestingly, only about half of them work in technology companies, and
Yes, it's not in IT only. All right.
and more than half of these are actually employed in other industries. So I will share more information about this, but this is just interesting information. So there's lots of technology or opportunities for tech companies, and the key roles which they play. Software developers, project managers, data scientists. All of these emerging technology is also a very big area where it is artificial intelligence, internet of technology, internet of things, automation, big data. So all of these are big technology requirements. So there's big growth opportunities in these areas. And just to give you another quick idea of the key top technology occupations. So, in technology occupations, you have software developers. So all of these roles are, kind of related to software. And there are also roles which are not related to software, but which are related to aligned around, software technologies. So project manager, computer support, cyber security. This is a very big area
Yeah.
now. Uh, you know,
And it's
business.
rising trend as far as I
Yeah.
know.
It's a big rising trend. Business analysts, tech supports. So all of these are actually, roles which tech companies and tech hiring, the recruiters need to focus on. Just 1 minute. So I'll stop sharing now.
And Rajat, why do companies start assessing this technology talent? Because as far as I remember, 10 or 15 years ago, it looked like that you have a IT guy or someone from STEM as a STEM occupation, and you just hire, you just know skills, and now we start assessing them. Why?
Yeah. So there is a big need to assess the talent which we have, because there are a lot of engineers, and there's a lot of candidates who are interested in job opportunities. So there is a huge requirement to to assess the skills, and also there's a lot of different
Mhm.
kinds of skill sets which different jobs have. So there is also a need to match, that whether people are able to, just to make sure that we are able to predict that these people will work well for this job role. So in
Yes.
order to match make the two, the skill sets required,
Mhm.
with the skill sets, trying to ascertain the skill sets which the candidates have. So you really need to have a assessment solution, a
Mhm.
robust assessment solution which can do that.
Mhm. And rather
Um,
specific ones, as far as I understand. Mhm.
is it feasible to assess people who are just starting their career in IT, or just getting into this field? Can we predict their performance or their ability to learn and to progress in this area?
Very good question. Thank you. Yeah, it is. In fact, I would say that a very large, significant demand is actually for the very thing which you have asked. So entry level hiring is actually, constitutes the major requirement of assessments. The big demand, what we have seen. So yes, it is very much possible to have assessments which are for entry level people who are just starting out. So there's two things to understand. The first thing is to understand hard skills. By hard skills, what I really mean is something like cognitive ability, or logical reasoning, analytical ability, just his aptitude, just general aptitude for for programming or for doing coding work. So that's one thing that we see, just as numerical, quantitative skills. All of these we have seen are very useful in predicting his trainability. And the other is a little bit of soft skills, and this is where many companies also want to check their kind of behavioral or personality fit. Does he work well in a team? Because a lot of the interaction and a lot of work now in IT companies works in a team environment. uh, is he open to learning? Because how technology changes these days. So it's a very very quick evolving field. So companies normally want people who are trainable and who are open to learning. So these are kind of just some behavioral aspects that are also useful. So these are soft skills and hard skills, and we actually we have tools which evaluate both these for entry level talent as well. Yeah.
So, and what is the balance basically for example, IT professions between those hard skills, including like extra hard, so to speak, like actual programming in specific language, and soft skills? Which is more prevalent? Which is like more important for success in the field?
Well, I wouldn't say what is more important or less important, but what we have seen in our experience, of working with large corporations, is that there's a lot of importance given to the hard skills. That is very, very key. So it's like a showstopper. So, if they don't have the cognitive ability, or if they don't have the technical skill set which is required, then they will not proceed after the screening at all. They're just kind of shortlisted out. So that's a hard requirement. Soft skills, what we have seen is that companies can train them, can invest in training and invest in leadership, invest in their personality development, invest in their communication skill. So that is something which can be can also be built and acquired. uh, but hard and general aptitude, they really want that the candidate should have the interest and learn about his product and learn about his subject when he's interviewing for the job.
And what is specific to technology hiring process? I see that we have different sets of criteria, but the process itself probably it's not the same as in non-technology sector. What do you think about it?
Yeah. There's a big difference in the technology sector and non-technology sector. A key difference is, of course, in the and in the technology sector, people are very interested to check his programming aptitude or his just his cognitive analytical ability, logical thinking. These things are very important, and these things are also, we have seen, are very important from the point of view of also trainability. So if someone is has a good cognitive ability, has got a good logical thinking, then he is able to get trained. His trainability is far better, and correlates this. So the scores which he gets in his logical test uh, correlate really well with how they have trained. And say 1 year down, 2 year down, we have done all these case studies to check this. So that is something which is very key in technology hiring, that they want to check programming aptitude, general aptitude. uh,
Are there any specific requirements to the way we are assessing people in technology area? Because probably they are sensitive to it.
Yeah. So, especially given this new scenario, which is, the pandemic related, the new changes that we have seen, in the work ethic, because a lot of companies now are just asking their staff and their employees to work from home, to do all their work from home. So there's a lot of changes which have happened because of this, that we have seen over the last like 6-8 months, and I will discuss those. But primarily, there are 2-3 tools which technology hiring companies use. One is that they use online assessments, so which are candidate friendly. So candidates can sit at their home and do the assessment. Many candidates want to, just the millennial crowd, they just want to do the assessments on their mobile. So because they are very comfortable with that kind of engagement. So and in fact, our assessments are all enabled on mobile as well. So that's something which we always take into account, engagement with the candidates, because that's very important to have a, for the candidate to feel engaged with the process. So there's two things to understand. One is the online assessment, and second is that also we need to have enable a kind of live interviewing. So what this means is that we are able to enable a face-to-face interview. At the same time, they are able to discuss their code, their technical. So we have kind of enabled a compiler platform where have where the code which the candidate writes is visible to the interviewer, and the interviewer can just ask questions, put coding questions about it. So both these things are very helpful for for technology hiring. There's a big demand for these tools because we want to have everything now online, in real.
It's not like we have a choice.
So almost everybody's sitting at home.
Yeah, so we're sitting at home. You said that 53% of the companies which hire technology talent are not IT companies. Which companies do you think benefit more from technology talent assessments? Maybe you have some case study or some story about the client you helped, which is not an IT company.
Yeah. That is a very interesting statistic, because you normally someone will tend to think that all the IT hiring will happen just on the technology companies, and of course, there's lots of huge technology companies which are doing IT services, IT products, and which do a lot of hiring. But there's a lot of hiring which even non-tech companies. For example, just in the over the last month, we are having a big discussion with Adidas. Adidas is a, it's a global shoe brand. It's a consumer brand, but there's a lot of technology hiring which they also need to do. So one thing to understand in order to understand your question is that there is now a huge requirement of what is called as digital transformation. So what it really means is that companies which are, whatever they're doing, irrespective of industry, they need to have, technology people in order to transform, or to try to transform their business and make it digital, to take advantage of the technology advancements. So, say a company like Volkswagen, we work with Volkswagen in China. It's a huge automobile company, and they have, they use our solution, for doing this, just making sure that all their staff is, digitally enabled. So they want to have everybody to have a minimum amount of digital literacy, in order to have that, they check this. They use tools to check, their knowledge. Then you, of course, might know all many banks. So we work with several banks which are huge, which have huge technology arms or technology divisions. Citibank, we are working with Wells Fargo. All of these are global banks where they need a lot of technology people, just to process. In fact, banks are kind of like technology companies. They're very, very large. So almost every company, irrespective of industry, any large company, any large enterprise does or has a very active tech hiring demand. And I'm saying large enterprises because they would be having their system, they would be having some ERP software, and they will have to digitalize their whole process. So that's something which we have seen big demand from all companies. Yeah.
What is your portfolio for technology hiring? The instruments, the things you can do to help the companies, the things we have for like companies that need to deal with digital transformation, or just IT companies that need to hire developers.
Yeah. There, so there's a big demand, or there's a big need for in technology companies, for their employees to, what we call it, reskill or upskill themselves. So if they're already good in some skill, or they already know some language, some proficient in something, now they need to continually keep upskilling themselves. So and build new competencies. So that's why, in all these companies, apart from talent acquisition, we also have talent management as a very big, which kind of does what is called as learning and development or training of their resources. It's always ongoing, continuously ongoing. So our solutions are useful, of course, number one, at the time of hiring, which is at the time of talent acquisition, to check the capability, but also they're useful for for talent managers, for doing efficient role allocations, to check what kind of roles will go where, what kind of roles is the person suited for. Then also, what kind of training will be helpful, to get training inputs. So our assessments are also used for talent management perspective.
Rajiv, could you walk us through this portfolio? I believe that it will be beneficial for us for understanding.
So this is the first thing that I wanted to show, that our assessments run on computers. This is a computer interface, can be a laptop, and can also run on a mobile. Which many candidates, just especially the millennial crowd, they are very comfortable, and working through mobile. So that's something which we have seen. And I wanted to just also walk you through a portfolio of assessments and what we are So there's we just discussed briefly about when we talked about hard skills and soft skills. So at SHL, we have a very robust breadth of tools. So we have all the hard skill interviews, skill assessments on one side. We also have the behavioral personality tools as well. So that's something which is very special to our company, since we have both these kind of assessment tools. And there are three assessments that I can just quickly walk you through. The first assessment is the coding simulation, where we ask the candidate a question and actually give him a compiler environment and ask him to write the source code to solve the problem. So this is a very interesting situation, and most interesting for companies, because this simulates their exact job environment, what they expect him to do to work, at the job. So we simulate that experience by providing a coding simulation. We also will talk briefly about our technology skills and also talk to you about our live coding interviews. So the first thing is our coding simulation, where the something which is very unique about our solution is that we use AI to grade the programs. So after the candidate has submitted the code, we actually use artificial intelligence to provide a highly validated score on the efficiency of the program which he has written. So that is something which is very special, and nobody else has this kind of tool where we have AI. So this is a big differentiator of our tool. There are also, we have a question bank, and we also have enabled it for different coding languages as well, which is very useful. So, and we also have different coding simulations, many versions of coding simulations for different job roles. So if it's a testing role, then we have Selenium. If there's a data scientist role, we have data science. If there's a design role, we have Automata front end. So we have different versions of Automata or compiler tool for different roles. So one of the key things about a code simulation is that it grades programs that are even partially correct. So what happens is that many a time when the candidates are doing the test, in the rush of doing the assessment, they might not be able to sort out all the errors which they have when they write code. Then they have to compile it and make sure that it runs. So what we have is that even if they are not able to compile it, and the code is only partially correct, we are still able to grade it. Whereas every other tool can only have a yes no approach. What it means is that if the program compiles, and then they will check how many test cases passed, and they provide a score on that basis. We provide a score which is, of course, on the basis of test cases passed, but we also are able to provide, because of the AI that we use, we are able to check the algorithm which he has written. So this is very helpful for companies, in just to make sure that we don't reject candidates who still have the aptitude. So we are able to grade programs that have minor errors and do not compile as well through the AI that we have. This is the supervised machine learning model that we have built. This is the clear advantage. So in a normal tool, if there are 8,000 selects, that's whom they will screen, for the next round. We will have all the 8,000, plus we will have another 2,000, who do not pass the test cases. Plus we have another 1,600, which, still have some programming aptitude, even though they were not able to compile the code. So that's just to make sure that every candidate we are not losing out on possible good candidates. This is from our case studies. So we have these good large question banks. We also have authoring system that we can you can write your own code as well. So that's the first part. The second part of our solution is the MCQ tests. What this means is that we have multiple choice question based. You can see this on the right hand side. So there is a statement given, and the candidate will have to choose which of the two, A, B, C, or D, which of the options is the correct option. So we have a large array of modules here, more than hundreds, 200 of modules. So we can check all kinds of skills on this. You can see here front end, middleware, back end, database, DevOps. All of these are readily available for us as an MCQ. And lastly, we also have these online coding interviews. You can see here, this is the coding environment where we have, this is the chat interface, there's a video chat, and there's a text chat. This is the problem statement. So it's a very, very pretty intuitive interface. And this is very, very helpful, to make the online interviews very effective and very structured. In fact, because of all these benefits, we can choose coding problems. We can allow candidates to code in multiple languages. We have a whiteboard. So because of all these things, many companies have told us that this online interviewing is actually more efficient than even face-to-face interviewing. So that's, earlier everybody used to just ask candidates to come to their office for a face-to-face interview. This kind of technology solutions are actually allowing you to be more efficient. Using this kind of tool, you can actually have more than one interview going on simultaneously. So the process brings in more efficiency to your hiring. Yeah, thank you. That's about this solution portfolio.
That's true. And I wonder, how do you define what kind of technology should be included? Because technology is changing almost every year. How do you manage to be updated or whatever?
Yeah, that is a very important question. You are very right here. There is huge change which is always happening in technology. So we have actually a very large in-house content team, which is always monitoring and continuously updating our content. So we don't use any outside content. We have our own in-house content building team, and so we are continually updating these modules. So there's two things here to understand. One is that there are new technologies which are coming in. So we have a team which keeps creating new modules, new modules for addressing those new technologies. Also, just the existing module set, there are some improvements, version enhancements which keep happening continually, and so we keep kind of redeploying those. So the old questions are just removed from the data from the question bank, and we keep putting in new questions as well. So we have to have this, being especially being in the tech hiring space, this is something which is a must that we have to do. Keep continually, we call it a continuously evolving question bank. So we keep evolving it, on a routine basis. Yeah.
Great.
What big global multinational companies use your assessment, and what are the primary purposes? And maybe you can describe some of your favorite cases, maybe something large or something interesting.
Yeah. So there's a huge e-commerce giant globally, Amazon. Amazon, uses our solution globally, across hundreds of thousands of candidates. So they have many roles. Let me say, so they have one role which is called as SDE1, Software Development Engineer 1. That is the role which is, as soon as the candidate comes from after engineering, that's the first, that's kind of an entry level role. And they have SDE1 role for different divisions. So, someone working in their Alexa, or some working in, in the global website. So they have different skill sets for these. So we have these. So what we do for Amazon is a multi-hurdle approach. What it means is that the first hurdle so they will have is they do a logical ability test, to check his aptitude. Along with that, they do a kind of a test, what we call as automata fix. What this means is that they check, we give various, we give snippets of code to the candidate, 7 snippets of code, and the candidate has to look through the existing code. So he doesn't write source code in this. An automata fix is a different version. He looks through the code and he has to identify what is the error in the code. So you're able to check. So there'll be some error, like some syntax error or some logic error or some code reuse, which he has to see. So this is a very quick test. It just takes 20 minutes to do, and it quickly tells them of the candidate's comfort level with code. Yeah, so they have this logical ability plus automata fix as a hurdle 1. Once candidate passes the benchmarks for these, then he goes to hurdle 2, which is a coding test. So then we give him a problem statement and ask him to write the source code. So that's the hurdle 2. After that, they have some other psychometric tests as well, which they use for subsequent hurdles. But this approach really has helped them in several ways. The first is that they are able to cast their net very wide, because this is an automated screening. There is no need for any manual intervention here. All our scoring also is completely automated, so it completely streamlines their process. So they are able to cast their net wide. So any applicant, any candidate who wants to take up their assessment, they're able to check his competency level very quickly. Second, the big benefit of having this approach is that they're able to shorten their time to hire. So and this is like a really big requirement for all tech this thing, that if there's a good candidate, we should just quickly onboard him. So having this kind of an assessment, streamlined process, if the candidates who are really scoring well, they can just quickly get him on board and just conduct his interview quickly and just make sure that they don't lose out on the candidates. In the traditional approach, they had to do several rounds of manual interviews. So having this kind of automated. Another thing is that all these hurdles are kind of automated. So if the candidate passes the benchmark, then automatically he is invited for the next hurdle. So really, there is no, it's all machine driven. There is no manual intervention here. So Amazon is a very good example of having hundreds of thousands of candidates globally across several locations, and we are able to kind of service them very seamlessly. So there's a lot of stuff which we do with them. They are very particular about what kind of questions the candidates get. So everything they see through, they vet. We also make the questions the candidates get in coordination with them. So we have a process for creating content, customized content for them as well. But so that's one. Then let me just walk you through some other large examples. We work with Cognizant. Cognizant is a large IT solutions company. We work with them, kind of standardize their entry-level hiring plus lateral hiring as well. And again, there's hundreds of thousands. Now, what is special is that this year, because of the pandemic, so normally they would always visit the campuses, and this year we have enabled a kind of virtual interviewing for them. That has really worked well for them, that they don't need the interviewers or anybody to physically visit campuses. So we deliver the assessments online on a particular day to a certain set of candidates, say 20,000, 40,000 candidates. And after that, to all the selected candidates, we are able to also provide the online interviewing. So everything from from start to finish, the whole process, whether it's cognitive test, whether it's coding test, whether it's an interview, we are able to actually make everything streamlined and virtual. So this has given them a lot of efficiency at scale, because they are also doing almost 100,000 candidates. We have done some interesting solution with Volkswagen. I told you about. So that's a non-tech company, but they use us, for their employees. They are not using us right now for the at the hiring, but at their employee level, to check, the whether he is digitally, if, they certify him digitally, his digital knowledge. So they want to make sure that all their staff has got some amount of tech knowledge, and some amount of software comfort with software coding. So everybody goes through this, and then they allow them to go through training programs as required to upskill themselves. So that's a very interesting use case as well.
Great, thank you for these examples, because it describes the whole process, not only the tests itself for a solution, but the process as a whole. And my question is, usually we are told to that IT companies, they can do almost everything internally because they have an experts. And what is the difference, just a key difference between the internal IT tests for internal purpose, as IT companies do, and aspiring mind solutions, agile solutions?
Yeah. There is it's a very, very big, requirement. Having a scientifically designed assessment is very important for bringing up a validated score. So, people in IT companies, they might have domain knowledge, they might have knowledge about, but creating an assessment which is scientifically validated is actually a different ball game, and that's been recognized now. And that is why, now more and more companies are all recognizing the need of having a scientifically designed instruments. Otherwise, there's a lot of bias which creeps in. So there's a lot of what do I say, errors in the assessment which come in, if you do non-standardized testing. So when you work with a company like ours, we actually provide standardized tools. So scores are comparable across regions, across geographies, across candidates, across campuses. Uh, so there's big benefit. Then we are able to provide questions which are scientifically designed. So, and the biggest uh, advantage is that these companies, their people don't have time to give to hiring, because there's a lot of business they have to attend to. So there's a lot of work which they are already they are very much occupied in, and their time is very precious. So these are all higher. These are all kind of engineering heads, or so all of these people who are doing business, their work is to manage business. So their time is very, very key, very important. So whatever can be outsourced to others should be. That is very helpful for them.
And it's, you're absolutely right, because of the business model, and the time is money. And when we're talking about aspiring minds, being a part of SHO now, right now, what you focus on, what you're doing right now?
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot of benefits that have accrued to our solution because of our association with SHL. So first of all, now we are in the process, and in fact, have already ported our solution onto the SHL platforms, and the SHL platforms bring us a huge benefit in terms of much a wider array of technology and behavioral assessments which are available. Secondly, there's we have brought out a new tool called experiences, which actually talks to candidates in a very different way. You know, it allows companies to have a very engaging candidate experience. So through experiences a platform. What you can do is that companies can put up videos explaining what is their job content, put up a video of earlier employees who are or existing employees who can talk about what the job role is. These things are very interesting for candidates to go through. And then in through one seamless offering, we have on the platform we have, like, say, five tiles. So the first tile can be what company wants, second tile can be something about which their existing staff talk about, third tile can be one assessment, fourth tile can be another assessment. So then we have quizzes. So a company can just to give an idea to the candidates, they can talk about some questions. Are you willing to work anywhere, regardless of location, or so they can ask some questions as well, just to make sure that candidates get the right message. So SHL has brought up this cutting edge tool as well called experiences, which is again a big help, for our platform. The third and most important thing is the huge sales army now that we have. So SHL has got this huge team and people like you in different geographies across the world. So we are able to actually, talk to people and showcase, how our solution works, how it is helping people identify the right, identify the right candidates for their job. So that's something is very, very helpful, for aspiring minds to get that focus in. So we have actually changed, being with SHL, we are actually able to create, these cognitive offerings which are specially designed for tech hiring. So nobody else has this, but because of the SHL, the huge research team which they have, so we are able to build content like that. Yeah.
Thank you. One more question. If one wants to be successful in technology area in long term, first of all, what qualities should person possess to be successful? And is it possible to become a professional without any academic background?
Oh yeah, that's interesting. Very interesting that you asked that, and especially the second question that you asked. That is something which is an emerging trend now globally. The thing is that education has changed just in the last 5 or 8 years. Just the concept of education has changed. Earlier, it was all just through engineering schools and this, but now it's kind of democratized. So all education, all the best assets of education are actually available free of cost and available through different channels, through videos. So any student who is keen to learn and who wants to learn, he is not denied any. There's no shortage of technology resources available, and this is something which companies have also recognized now. And that is, the earlier on, they would only have select campuses or select places they would recruit from. Now they have understood that there is much more talent which is available, and which is also skilled because of they have talent which has taken advantage of these resources. And so they're kind of democratized, and also through different networks, mobiles, and so much of social media. So just the way hiring has happened has to has changed. And that is where also the need of our assessments has really been helpful, has come in, because the companies are happy to give everybody a chance, whether he has studied structured manner in engineering school or not. He might still be helpful, and he might still be a skilled coder. So they are giving, yeah, they're giving, they want to give a chance. Many companies want to give a chance to people to show their skills. And the so first question, that what are the skills which are helpful and necessary? I would say, first of all, there is a disciplined approach which companies need. So how hardworking is he? How conscientious is he? Is he diligent? Is he disciplined? That is a very helpful approach. They try to check. Secondly, they want him to be open, openness to learning. That is something very helpful. So what really this means is, apart from aptitude, just his attitude. So his attitude towards learning and training, that is very, very important for his success, because uh, things are changing very fast. So he has to just continuously keep upgrading himself, or upselling, or upskilling himself. And of course, you need to have the hard skills. Those are taken for granted. Cognitive, analytical thinking, that is taken for granted. That is very, very important and very helpful.
Coming back to the question about academic background,
Yeah.
if we take IT companies
Yeah.
and non-IT companies,
Yeah.
do they have a difference on how they value this academic background? Because in here we have a quite bigger difference, because non-IT companies, they're like, no, we want for the most part, we want people with academic backgrounds. IT companies, they are slightly less adamant about that. Do you see such maybe or other difference in your field?
What we have seen globally is that the real issue is that there is a huge demand for IT people skills. There is a big demand, and that demand is hard to meet. And so it's actually a compulsion, that if you just go by traditional, if you just say that I want to only recruit from these 5 places or these 5 campuses, you're not going to be able to meet your requirement. And smaller companies definitely are not able to. So all companies, because just the tech hiring space keeps changing. So so you need to have a lot of hiring to to kind of accelerate that growth. And so companies have really been, I would say, forced to enhance their reach and make sure that they tap into every possible source, because there's just they're running short of people, basically. That's the issue. So they want to tap. So that is really what has driven this focus towards all sources. If anybody is skilled and he says that I am skilled, talk to me, I think companies will talk to him.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Okay.
And thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
And my key conclusion after the story is that while we are assessing, it's look like the cutting off, but to tell the truth, we are helping people to find more candidates and give a chance to different candidates with absolutely different background. And I like this idea. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ruben and yeah, Irene. It really been an enjoyable discussion. Thoroughly liked it. Thank you very much. And do let us
Thank you.
know if you need further support.
Thank you.